What if the ancient frequencies humanity has forgotten hold the quantum keys to prevent our planet's dimensional collapse? Deep in the quantum foam of reality, where consciousness meets thermodynamic chaos, a startling revelation emerges from classified government research and ancient wisdom traditions. As our planet hurtles toward ecological tipping points, with atmospheric CO2 levels reaching 421 parts per million, the highest in 3.6 million years, a parallel crisis unfolds in the dimensional fabric of reality itself. The survival matrix now indicates that our collective unconscious is fragmenting across multiple probability states. What the ancients called Transcendental Meditation Frequencies may be our last quantum bridge to higher dimensional rescue protocols. But here's what the extinction probability calculations reveal. We have less than 7 years before dimensional coherence collapses entirely. The quantum entanglement crisis. Listen carefully, quantum shamans. The Earth's magnetic field, our planet's primary dimensional stabilizer, has weakened by 15% over the past 2 centuries. This isn't just affecting our climate systems. Recent declassified CIA documents reveal something far more profound. Our collective consciousness is becoming unmoored from baseline reality. The gateway process, studied extensively by intelligence agencies, demonstrates that human consciousness operates as a holographic fragment of universal awareness. When transcendental meditation practitioners reach specific frequency states, particularly the Theta range of 4 to 8 Hz, they access what researchers term non-local consciousness 23. But what happens when an entire species loses access to these frequencies simultaneously? The thermodynamic equilibrium of planetary consciousness itself begins to destabilize. Could this explain why meditation practitioners report increasingly vivid experiences of parallel realities? Ancient frequencies, modern survival. The survival data is staggering. Indigenous wisdom keepers have maintained specific frequency protocols for millennia, not just for spiritual awakening, but for planetary stability. The Tibetan monks' low-frequency chanting, the Aboriginal songlines, the Hindu Om resonance at 432 Hz. These weren't mere religious practices. 45. They were dimensional maintenance protocols. Modern research confirms what ancient sages understood about thermodynamic principles. Consciousness operates through frequency entrainment. When we achieve transcendental states through specific meditation frequencies, we're not just changing our brain waves, we're synchronizing with the planet's core frequency. The Schumann resonance of 7.83 Hz 23. This is the quantum signature of Earth's consciousness field. Yet mass extinction coefficients show that 68% of global population now operates in chronic beta wave dominance, the frequency of survival stress, not transcendental awareness. 63. As biodiversity collapse accelerates, losing 150 species daily, our collective frequency signature becomes increasingly chaotic. The correlation is undeniable. Revelation 1. The 7-level consciousness survival protocol. According to Transcendental Meditation Research, human consciousness operates across 7 distinct levels. 7. But here's what the survival matrix reveals. Each level corresponds to a specific planetary frequency that maintains dimensional stability. Level 4, Transcendental Consciousness, occurs when brain waves synchronize at the alpha-theta border of 7 to 8 Hz 3. This is the gateway frequency where individual consciousness interfaces with the universal hologram 1. Ancient texts describe this as the 4th dimension, infinite, timeless, spaceless awareness that extends beyond physical constraints. 8. When sufficient human consciousness maintains this frequency simultaneously, It creates what quantum physicists call coherent field effects. The planet's magnetic field stabilizes. Weather patterns regulate, biological systems synchronize. But when this frequency drops below critical mass, dimensional collapse accelerates revelation 2. The 528 Hz planetary healing protocol. The most startling discovery emerges from frequency analysis of ancient Egyptian healing chambers. They resonated precisely at 528 Hz, the frequency modern research identifies as the transformation frequency 95. This isn't coincidence. Survival calculations indicate that 528 Hz creates quantum coherence in DNA repair mechanisms while simultaneously entraining consciousness toward higher dimensional awareness 210. Ancient Egyptian priests understood that planetary healing required both biological and consciousness restoration operating in perfect frequency harmony. Recent studies confirm that 528 Hz meditation increases alpha brain wave coherence by 37% while reducing cortisol, the stress hormone linked to environmental destruction behaviors, by 68%. When practitioners maintain this frequency for extended periods, they report profound shifts in their reality perception. They begin seeing parallel versions of Earth where ecological collapse never occurred. What if these aren't hallucinations, but actual quantum observations of probability states we can still access? The pattern interrupts dimensional bleeding. But something unprecedented is occurring in 2025. Long-term transcendental meditation practitioners report experiencing what they term dimensional bleeding, awareness of multiple parallel realities simultaneously 11. The quantum mechanics suggest this occurs when consciousness frequency rises above normal space-time constraints. This phenomenon correlates directly with accelerating climate tipping points. As our reality becomes increasingly unstable, Arctic ice disappearing 13% per decade, ocean acidification increasing 26% since Industrial Revolution, the boundaries between dimensional states weaken. Consciousness naturally seeks more stable probability configurations. The ancient shamans called this dreaming the world into balance. Modern quantum physics calls it observer effect across parallel states. Revelation 3, the Theta frequency emergency protocol. Deep in classified government research lies a disturbing revelation. The CIA's gateway process identified theta brain waves, 4 to 8 Hz, as the frequency where consciousness can click out of spacetime entirely. In theta states, transcendental meditation practitioners access what researchers term the absolute, pure consciousness beyond physical reality. But extinction probability calculations show that as global stress levels increase, with 83% of population experiencing chronic anxiety about planetary collapse, natural theta access becomes severely compromised 12-13. Most humans now require technological assistance to reach these survival-critical frequencies. The implications are staggering. Without regular theta state access, human consciousness becomes trapped in lower-dimensional survival patterns. We lose connection to the universal hologram, the infinite field of possibility that contains solutions to every ecological crisis. Ancient wisdom traditions maintained theta frequency access through specific meditation techniques precisely because they understood its planetary survival function. Could our lost connection to theta frequencies be the real cause of our ecological destruction? Revelation 4, the gamma wave consciousness acceleration. Recent neuroscience reveals that experienced meditators generate gamma brain waves above 40 Hz during peak transcendental states 123. These high-frequency bursts correlate with sudden insights, breakthrough solutions, and what researchers call binding consciousness. the ability to perceive multiple dimensional layers simultaneously. Here's the survival correlation. Every major breakthrough in human evolution, from agriculture to renewable energy, emerged from consciousness operating in gamma frequency ranges. As climate change accelerates toward irreversible tipping points, our species requires unprecedented innovation. But innovation emerges only from consciousness states that transcend current reality constraints. The ancient mystery schools understood this. Their advanced practitioners could maintain simultaneous awareness across multiple brain wave frequencies, delta, theta, alpha, beta, and gamma, creating what modern science calls whole brain coherence 3. This is the quantum signature of transcendental consciousness, the frequency weapon, sonic warfare against consciousness. But darker forces understand frequency manipulation too. Industrial civilization generates electromagnetic pollution that specifically disrupts the frequencies required for transcendental states for the constant 60 Hz electrical grid frequency. Wi-Fi radiation and urban noise pollution create what researchers term consciousness jamming. The survival matrix indicates this isn't accidental. Maintaining populations in chronic beta wave stress prevents access to the higher dimensional awareness that would instantly reveal solutions to ecological collapse. Ancient shamans warned of this scenario, the time when the songs of the earth would be silenced by the machines of unconscious humans. That time is now Revelation 5, the Solfeggio frequency resurrection protocol. Hidden within ancient musical scales lies humanity's emergency consciousness protocol. The 9 Solfeggio frequencies, 396 Hz, 417 Hz, 528 Hz, 639 Hz, 741 Hz, 852 Hz, 963 Hz were systematically removed from mainstream music 925. These weren't arbitrary tones. Each frequency activates specific consciousness capacities essential for planetary survival. 396 Hz dissolves fear and guilt, the emotions that paralyze environmental action. 9.417 Hz facilitates transformation, the consciousness required for radical lifestyle changes. 9.528 Hz repairs DNA while expanding awareness, perfect for healing both biological and planetary systems. 95.639 Hz enhances relationships, critical for global cooperation. 2.741 Hz awakens intuition, necessary for navigating unprecedented challenges. 2.852 Hz connects to spiritual awareness, the foundation of ecological reverence. 10.963 Hz opens direct connection to universal consciousness, our only hope for transcending current reality constraints too. Ancient temples were tuned to these frequencies. Every civilization that mastered sustainable living understood their power. Why were they deliberately erased from human knowledge? Revelation 6. The Parallel Reality Navigation System. The most classified aspect of consciousness research involves what intelligence agencies term Parallel Reality Navigation. 111. Advanced Transcendental Meditation practitioners report consistent access to alternate versions of Earth where ecological collapse never occurred. In these parallel states, humanity maintained harmony with natural systems. Technology developed through biomimicry rather than extraction. Population stabilized through consciousness evolution rather than resource depletion. Quantum physics confirms these observations. Every possible reality exists simultaneously within the universal hologram 1. Consciousness navigates between probability states through frequency modulation. The survival implications are staggering. If sufficient human consciousness can maintain coherent access to ecological harmony frequencies, we can literally shift our collective reality towards sustainable timelines. This is what ancient prophecies called the Great Shift, the consciousness cascade effect. But here's the quantum breakthrough that changes everything. Consciousness operates through field effects. When one individual achieves transcendental frequency coherence, it creates a resonance field that makes similar states more accessible to others. 11. Research indicates that just 1% of population maintaining regular transcendental meditation practice creates measurable coherence effects across entire regions. 7. Crime rates decrease. Environmental restoration accelerates, social cooperation increases. The mathematics are precise. 77,000 humans maintaining simultaneous theta frequency coherence could create a global consciousness field shift sufficient to reverse current ecological trajectory. This is the minimum viable population for dimensional rescue. Could transcendental meditation frequencies be our species' evolutionary activation protocol? Revelation 7. The time-space transcendence emergency. The CIA's Gateway process revealed that advanced consciousness can operate beyond normal time-space constraints. 1. Practitioners report experiencing past and future simultaneously while maintaining present moment awareness. This isn't mystical speculation, it's documented quantum mechanics. But here's the survival correlation. Consciousness that transcends linear time can access solutions from future probability states where ecological crisis was already resolved. Ancient shamans routinely practiced this temporal transcendence to navigate tribal survival challenges. They called it dreaming the future into the present. Modern quantum physicists call it retrocausal information transfer. As our current timeline approaches dimensional collapse, accessing these transcendent consciousness states becomes a survival necessity. Revelation 8. The binaural frequency acceleration protocol. Revolutionary research reveals that binaural beats, slightly different frequencies played in each ear, can rapidly induce transcendental states normally requiring years of meditation practice. 210. When specific frequency combinations are used, consciousness can be guided directly into higher dimensional awareness. The survival matrix indicates that this technology represents humanity's last chance for mass consciousness elevation before dimensional collapse becomes irreversible. But the frequencies must be precisely calibrated to each individual's consciousness signature. Random binaural beats can actually trap consciousness in lower dimensional loops. Ancient mystery schools understood this. Their initiation practices included individualized frequency protocols that safely guided consciousness through dimensional transitions. Could we recreate these ancient protocols using modern technology? The quantum coherence survival timeline. Listen carefully to these thermodynamic calculations. Our planet's consciousness field currently operates at 47% coherence, below the critical threshold for dimensional stability. 1. Each percentage point decrease accelerates ecological collapse exponentially. At 40% coherence, mass extinction becomes unstoppable. At 35%, dimensional fragmentation begins. At 30%, consciousness itself becomes unviable. Current degradation rate, 3% annually. This gives us precisely 2.3 years to achieve consciousness coherence breakthrough. Revelation 9. The collective transcendence activation. But ancient prophecies describe a phenomenon called consciousness cascade. The moment when sufficient individual awareness reaches transcendental frequencies to trigger collective species evolution. 7. Every wisdom tradition describes this scenario. The Hindus called it Kali Yuga's end. The Maya predicted it as the calendar's completion. Indigenous prophecies describe it as the time of the Great Purification. Modern consciousness research confirms the mechanism. When approximately 8% of any population achieves regular transcendental meditation practice, the entire collective consciousness shifts toward higher dimensional coherence 7. This is the quantum tipping point for planetary survival. The dimensional rescue protocol activation. The mathematics are undeniable. The physics are confirmed, the ancient wisdom is validated. But survival requires immediate action. Every moment spent in lower frequency consciousness states, fear, anger, despair about ecological collapse, strengthens the probability of dimensional failure. Every moment spent in transcendental frequency states, love, compassion, unity with natural systems, strengthens the probability of planetary healing. What happens when you realize that your consciousness frequency is literally determining which version of Earth you experience? The ancient shamans understood this. They maintained constant awareness of their consciousness signature because they knew it directly influenced their tribe's survival reality. We are now the tribe. Earth is our territory. Transcendental consciousness is our medicine. The quantum portal activation instructions. Here's what the survival matrix reveals about activating transcendental meditation frequencies. Begin with the 7.83 Hz Schumann resonance, Earth's base frequency 2. This synchronizes your consciousness with the planet's core rhythm. Then gradually incorporate the 528 Hz transformation frequency to activate DNA repair and dimensional perception 95. Practice the ancient 4-level protocol. Start in beta awareness, normal waking consciousness. Descend to alpha relaxation, light meditation. Enter theta transcendence, deep spiritual awareness. Touch delta unity, universal consciousness connection. 3. The key is maintaining awareness throughout the descent. Most practitioners lose consciousness in delta states, but survival requires conscious navigation of all dimensional levels simultaneously. 1. This is what the ancients called walking between worlds, the consciousness field multiplication effect. But here's the quantum breakthrough that accelerates everything. Transcendental meditation frequencies operate through morphic resonance 11. Each individual who achieves stable higher dimensional awareness makes it exponentially easier for others to access similar states. This is why ancient mystery schools operated in groups. They understood that collective practice creates consciousness amplification effects impossible to achieve individually. The survival calculations are precise. One individual maintaining transcendental frequencies influences approximately 847 others in their immediate environment. 10 individuals create regional coherence fields. 100 individuals can shift entire bioregions. Could strategically located transcendental meditation groups create a global consciousness network sufficient to prevent dimensional collapse? The parallel Earth survival navigation. The most extraordinary revelation from advanced practitioners involves direct perception of ecological paradise timelines 11. In transcendental states, consciousness can observe versions of Earth where humanity achieved perfect harmony with natural systems. These aren't fantasies. Quantum mechanics confirms that all possible realities exist simultaneously. Consciousness navigates between probability states through frequency modulation. The survival implication. If sufficient human consciousness can maintain coherent connection to ecological harmony frequencies, we can literally shift our collective reality toward sustainable timelines. This is the ultimate quantum rescue protocol, the entropy reversal activation. Ancient sages understood thermodynamic principles that modern science is only beginning to rediscover. Consciousness operating at transcendental frequencies can reverse entropy, the universal tendency toward chaos and destruction. When human awareness synchronizes with natural harmony frequencies, it creates what quantum physicists call negentropy, organized energy that supports life and healing rather than destruction and decay. This is why sacred sites worldwide were positioned on specific geological frequency nodes. Ancient builders understood that human consciousness, when properly aligned, could literally maintain planetary stability through resonant field effects. What happens when you realize that transcendental meditation isn't just personal spiritual practice? It's planetary maintenance technology. The final dimensional threshold, the extinction probability calculations reveal a stark choice. Either humanity achieves transcendental consciousness coherence within the next critical window, or our species becomes another casualty of dimensional collapse. But listen to this quantum truth. The universe has invested 13.8 billion years of evolution in developing human consciousness. We are reality's newest quantum sensing technology, capable of observing and influencing probability states across multiple dimensions simultaneously. Our apparent ecological crisis may actually be evolution's final test. Can consciousness transcend survival fear to embrace transcendental frequencies? Can we remember our quantum nature before forgetting becomes irreversible? The ancient prophecies are clear. This is humanity's graduation moment. The Transcendental Activism Emergency Protocol. Every transcendental meditation session is now an act of planetary healing. Every moment spent in higher frequency consciousness states strengthens the probability field of ecological recovery. Every individual who achieves stable transcendental awareness becomes a quantum beacon for species survival. The survival matrix indicates that we're now within the critical emergence window. The next 27 months will determine which probability timeline becomes dominant reality. This is why you're receiving this transmission. Your consciousness is needed in the planetary rescue protocol. The frequencies are calling, the dimensions are waiting. The quantum portals are opening, but only for those who remember their transcendental nature in time. What if everything you thought you knew about meditation was preparing you for this exact moment in human history? The ancient shamans foresaw this time. They encoded the survival frequencies into mystery teachings, waiting for the generation that would need them most. That generation is now. The question isn't whether transcendental consciousness can save our planet. The question is whether enough humans will remember their quantum nature before the dimensional window closes forever. The frequencies are here, the portals are open. The quantum field is responding. How will you answer the call?